Today on the grid, we're talking about Photoshop compositing mistakes you need to avoid. Our in-studio guests are Photoshop and Lightroom guru, cool Frenchy guy, Serge Ramelli.
Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs.
And we also are very fortunate to have with us Photoshop compositing wizard, Bret Malley.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
We've got some fun news to share. We've got some cool giveaways. And for you folks who are watching us live, and for a few people who are watching us dead, we have a bunch of cool gifts. All this merriment and mayhem. It all starts in just 60 seconds.
The Grid is brought to you by Tamron. Check out their 28 to 75 millimeter f2.8 lens. It's for Sony full frame mirrorless. It's awesome. Go to tamron-usa.com. And Westcott. Check out their new Rapid Box switch. It has 9 light modifiers and 13 quick swap light inserts. Check it out right now at fjwestcott.com.
And ProPhoto, the light shaping company. Check out the ProPhoto B1X. Power in all the right places. Go to prophoto.com/US.
And Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Grid. We are live and we've got two awesome guests today. To my left, he's French, he's cool. It's cool Frenchy guy, Serge Ramelli.
Hey, bonjour, Scott. Thank you for having me. It's amazing. I am blessed.
He really lays it on thick.
I mean, he does.
Yeah,
but-
when I speak English, it's a bit hard to understand me, but we will try.
Of course, he only sounds French for a very short time, and then he turns into a guy from LA like
Somebody
he is.
from Los Angeles, California or something, yeah?
Yep, that's it. And you guys who watch The Grid on a regular basis probably recognize my guest here because you were with us earlier this year. It wasn't even last year. It was like earlier this year.
Yeah, it hasn't even been a full year yet. Yep.
This is Bret Malley. He is a Photoshop wizard guru compositing guy, and he does all kinds of like really cool fantasy stuff. You guys have maybe seen his classes on Kelby 1. He's here doing some more classes. So we made him come on The Grid.
We did shadows, and now we're doing something with perhaps some light painting. Yeah, let's see.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah.
And this is interesting that we have these two guys that are really, really good at Photoshop because our topic today is Photoshop compositing mistakes you need to avoid.
that's right.
And we see a bunch of, like, when people, like, will send us in images for the Guru, not the Guru Awards, we actually do have a category for compositing in the Guru Awards at Photoshop World, but that's not it. When people send us in for our blind critiques, we see some composites that are like, woo! And it's not usually big things, but it's the details. It's the little things that get you burned. We were talking about this right before we went on the air, and Serge was telling me a thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so right about skies. We'll get to that. I don't want to steal his things because he's got some good stuff. Also today, I'm wearing a red jacket, so there's that.
What's the occasion?
I don't know. I'm just
Really
it's
draws the
cold
attention
and
right there.
surprisingly cold in Florida.
That's right.
And this morning when we're walking the dogs, I'm like, man, it's cold. I better put on a coat. And so all day I'm so cold.
30s in Oregon, and so I come here, I'm like, oh, this is so warm. I'm going to do the t-shirt. Look at the sun. This is amazing.
Yeah, it is sunny and beautiful, but it's a little chilly if you live in Florida.
Everyone's in parkas. What is this?
Can I tell you something? It doesn't get cold in Florida. So when it gets the least bit, if it drops below 70 degrees, I'm not kidding.
Pull out the red jacket.
Everybody pulls out their big jackets because if you don't do it then, it could go away. You don't ever get to use it the whole winter. I'd hate to be a retailer
It is
that
that
sells.
fashion that you have to pull out.
I kid you not. You'll see like fur coats and all kinds of crazy stuff, and you're like, why do you keep in the, it's like, it's 61.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, a couple little quick things real quick. The submission deadline to win your own gallery showing here at the gallery at Kelby 1 is coming up in just a few days, December 15th at midnight. Go enter. If you're a Kelby 1 Pro member, it's free to enter. What do you got to lose? It's not like if we don't like your friends, we're going to call you up and go, hey, your stuff was crap. There'll be one winner and no one else will know anything else. Just someone will win, and we'll fly you and a guest here to our headquarters in Florida where it's apparently sunny, yet a little chilly. You'll have a private gallery showing of your work. We'll have an opening reception, wine and cheese. We'll do an interview with you. And basically the whole idea is to get your work to a larger audience. This is our last winner.
Wow.
And this is interesting. So this is Rami, and or Rampton Kazami is his full name. Super great guy, and he lives up in Canada. And we became friends. And I'm going to go up and do a workshop with him. I'm not going to do a workshop. I'm taking his workshop. I'm going to be one of these students at his workshop next month. So hey.
Amazing.
Come and hang out. There's only gonna be a few of us. It'll be fun, and you'll see the red jacket. No, actually, I have this big, giant mega jacket. I'll be wearing that. We're gonna be up in Banff and all these, but he knows all these cool areas that are not the ones that all the tourists. Because people go to Banff and they shoot the same 3 places.
Yeah.
He's got places, and I was like, "Where did you find this?" He goes, "It's in Banff." It's in Banff. You can walk. You can park your car, and it's 50 feet from your car. This is the dream.
Wow.
This is what I've been waiting for my whole life. Easily accessible, amazing landscapes. So if you love landscape photography, if you love Rami, if you love Canada, and who doesn't love Canada?
Yeah.
And you want to have fun and learn stuff, and I'll probably, because there's going to be so few of us, it literally is a very small workshop, very intimate, like 5 people, like it. So
Nice.
anyway, you can come. You can come too. But you can come.
I'm not too sure. Like, oh yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
That'd be awesome.
Anyway, all right, so that's coming up next month, and you can go learn about it. If you go look on my blog or on my Facebook or on Twitter, and I'll be tweeting about it and stuff. But can't we send him someplace better than that? Rami's Workshop. Oh, he has a discount too. There's a discount code you can get for $800 off. You know what the code is?
Yeah.
Serge Ramelli.
Really?
No. It's Kelby. Anyway, but anyway.
Yeah. Where can we find out more?
Where can we find out more? We'll figure it out. It's someplace, and you'll find out soon, but we will know. Okay, 2 more things. Today on my blog, every Wednesday, we have a guest blog. Guest blogger today is nomadic landscape photographer Mandy Lee. I guarantee you at the end of the year, this will be one of the best guest blogs of the entire year. And let me tell you what, we get amazing people to do guest blogs. Her story, how she makes a living as a landscape photographer, her tips for how to make a living as a landscape photographer. She seriously takes you through the whole thing. It is brilliant. She is a great writer. Her photographs are awesome. It really is brilliant. And,
Wow.
and
Really.
scroll down a little so we can see some of her shots. She's got some beautiful photography,
Wow.
right?
Nice.
That's a nice life.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And her story, though, you got to read the story. The pictures are great, but honestly, read the story. And at the end, she goes, okay, look, I know where you read this. This is how do you make a living as a landscape photographer? And she lays it out. Look at that picture.
Silky.
And look at that. Her composition is on the money. Anyway, it's a great read. You will thank me later and share it with everybody, because this is one of those, every once in a while you get a blog post that is so special, everybody needs to read it. This is one of them. Guaranteed to be one of the best.
Wow. I love that photo.
I know. She's so good. There's all these things about how she makes her living and everything. So anyway, super, super good. Look, she's driving, what is that, a Porsche or a BMW? She's pulling a very small camper with a very expensive
That's funny.
car. So she's
Way to do it.
she's doing something right. All right, one more thing. This weekend, I was there shooting with the Dolphins for the Miracle in Miami. You don't know what the Miracle in Miami does?
No, I'm French. I know soccer. I know Paris
Well, this
Saint-Germain.
is a sport like soccer, but way better. Just kidding. Just it's an American joke. Anyway, there was this miracle that happened this weekend, and one of our viewers and a buddy of ours, Dalton, was there. We're sitting in the end zone. There's 7 seconds left in the game against the Patriots. There's no way for them to win. So when there's no way for you to win and you're behind, you do a lateral. You hike the ball, you throw a short pass, and then you lateral to people. It never works. It never works every 12 years. And son of a gun, not only did it work and they beat the Patriots by 1 point with no time left on the clock, not only that, but the guy that did it, Kenyon Drake, I was shooting him at the University of Alabama. He was at my son's school. It's not my son's school. He doesn't own the school, but he attends the school as a senior. Anyway, I was just shooting him, and then he runs in for the touchdown. You've never seen a stadium erupt like that. It was absolute pandemonium. And was I in the right place for it? No, not at all. So here's the end zone. I was way over here, and they're on the other end. There it is. Dolphins stun the Patriots. And just an incredible play. And the whole play only lasts a few seconds, but oh my gosh, see that right there? That's where Rob Foldy was standing. So was there with Rob Foldy, the awesome Rob Foldy was there. And I got to tell you what, I've gotten to shoot with a number of teams. I always have fun when I go to Atlanta or go up to Nashville with the Titans and all. But they got a special crew down in Miami. They got the greatest team. There he is, Kenyon Drake. Boom! And I had so much fun, I just can't even tell you. Just absolutely had a blast. And thanks to Rob and all the guys with the Dolphins. Woo, what a good time. All right, let's talk about some compositing. All right, so we have a bunch of ideas of things that we see very, very commonly that people have. And we're going to each give one, then we're going to take a break here. So, Serge, you're one that you had about sky replacement, because he said, he says, do you know what the #1 sky replacement thing is? And I'm like, no, I don't. What is it? And it is, when he said it, I was like, oh.
Okay, so the #1 mistake in sky replacement is using the wrong sky for the wrong time of the day. Example, I should have prepared some examples, but imagine you have a house. Well, actually, good examples. This was a sky replacement, but imagine you have a house where you can see the sun on the house, and now you're putting like an overcast sky. It just won't feel right because the sun is not supposed to hit the front of the house, or you're doing something where you can see the sun on a window and the sun is behind the horizon on the sky because you're putting a sunset sky. So the trick is to find an awesome sky that will somehow be at the same time of the day.
Right, at the approximate same time
and
of the day.
same position at sky too.
So you know what's interesting this is why I thought this was such a better tip, that the clouds that you're going to replace are at the right time of day. A person looking at it won't know what's wrong. Like your viewer won't go, you know what it is? The sun's at the wrong time.
But they see something.
But
Something is off.
and they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
There's some little thing that they know is wrong.
It bugs.
And they can't tell you what it is. It's just like in lighting, like when we talk about lighting on location, I always tell people, hey, if the sun's over there, you better light from that side.
Right.
And if you light from the other side, people don't know what's wrong with the photo, but it looks super composited. It looks composited even when you're not compositing.
Yeah.
It's that same
I actually
thing.
do have an example.
He's got an example. Let's take a look.
I got an example. So this is a photo that I shot. I was so scared. This is, I was in New York 2 weeks ago. I'm looking at a helicopter with door open.
Oh, I would never do
Nice,
that.
nice.
Scary.
My wife was like, oh, it's super fun. Anyway, and I was so scared that this is a shot that actually my wife got. Sorry, let me show you because I'm on a small screen here. So that's the shot that we originally got from shooting with a 35 millimeter. And
So that's the original shot?
that's the
there?
original shot. And then I was like, oh, I got to make this more awesome.
Yeah.
So I added this. But actually, the first version that I did, I had the sun here.
So wait, you added the sun and everything?
Yeah, this is all fake. Sorry. So that's...
But you put it over the whole city.
Yeah. Yeah, but then I blurred it.
Okay, is there blend mode over it and stuff?
Yeah, so I always
yeah.
have this technique
Okay,
where
multiply.
I use multiply and then I blur it. I blur it so you don't see the clouds or stuff like that. I mean, look at it. It works
So it
pretty
just
well.
adds
Dude, it looks
atmosphere.
great.
Yeah.
Before, after. But it works because if you look at the shadows...
It's the right time of day.
yeah.
Yeah. First of all, the way I had it was I had the sun in the middle. And then people were like, something is wrong. And because it was not matching the shadows, the angle of the shadows. So I had the sun over here. Sorry. And so I moved it there, and now it really works. So, but I spent like 20 skies. So I have this library with a whole bunch of sky that I use. But I got to pick the right one for the right photo. So the right one for the right time
For
of
the
day.
right time of day.
I don't do it often, but when I'm doing this book in New York, and there's maybe 10 photos where I do sky replacement out of 80, and this photo did really well on Instagram. I mean, it was voted like.
I love this photo.
And believe me, if I had posted this, wouldn't have not done the same thing.
No.
No, it's washed out flat. Yeah.
We're going to give you the slow clap. Here we go.
There we go.
Thank
That's
you.
really good, though. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Well done. I mean, I shouldn't be. I know you're really great at this stuff, but
You're
it's
just
just
like,
still seeing.
wow, that's
it's like
impressive.
seeing like you're seeing behind the scenes here.
Yeah.
So that's cool. All right. You got one for us? Brett?
Yeah, well,
I
I
know
can.
you do.
I can just add on onto that as well. But
Wow,
yeah, so light,
look at that.
Yeah, see, his
This is
fantasy
the-
stuff is cool, right?
Same kind of idea. And so from clouds, something started there.
Sorry.
To there we go.
accidentally started some music off my screensaver. Hang
Gets a slow
on.
clap, and I get to jam.
I'm sorry, my screensaver, like stupidest thing ever. Okay,
But
sorry.
yeah, same idea applies with anything you're compositing in. So this, I had to wait for the same time of day as this, and really just shoot a whole bunch of barns, and then the one that was at that one golden hour spot with it sort of bleeding through, and then same with going through my own archive and looking for rocks and things that really tried to capture that angle. And then everything else, that's your template for whatever else you bring into it, right? For shadows, if there's subjects. Anyways, yep. So the lighting and sky, this is also sky replacement for that part. But the one that I wanted to bring up is layer order. So I teach full time, and I see so many student works and this is one that perhaps you don't see all the time, but it's a big one when it catches a student and they continually do it, not following depth. So students, and especially if you're beginning at compositing, you'll have, let's say, a scene like this, and rather than saying whatever is closest needs to be in the foreground, right, the highest in that stack, students will instead, let's say if we can see, open up this wrong order thing here, city here, and then this guy on top, right? And then if you want to move this, yeah, I guess you could unlink this and move it around. Let's say if we get my move tool here, right? You could technically do that if you unlink the mask.
Right.
But if you try sticking something between, let's say you want an airplane, because I'm always post-apocalyptic or fantasy or something fun, it's never going to match, right? You're going to get an inverse. So really making sure the depth is there. If you add atmosphere or anything else,
So
it
do you
really
blur it to add it? I'm sorry, I'm
Oh,
way off the mic.
No, yeah. So so to do this kind of thing, yeah, you sort of build it up, but the layer order, wherever is closest, needs to be highest in that stack. So I see that all the time where students will use all this duct tape just to get it sort of working, but if they ever want to go back and change something, they can't. They're stuck with that order, and then if they really want to do
I
it.
hate to say this, but I don't understand.
Yeah,
I know that sounds stupid.
No. So yeah,
but
that's
I don't understand what you mean. I thought you were talking about something else.
Yes,
So can you
so-
start over and explain it like I'm in third grade, which potentially I am.
We're all in third grade. My son's in kindergarten, and I'm kind of there with them. So in general, the way that I like to work, right, is whatever is closest is going to be highest in the layer stack. Whatever is
wait,
furthest
no,
away.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So you're just talking about the layers panel. You're not talking about the image itself.
Yeah. So
whatever
both.
is closest.
So matching the Z depth with the layer stack over
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
So let's say you have something that's stacked up like this. This layer, right? This is all separate, right? This was actually
Right.
a parking lot, so this would be closest. Then this.
foreground, the foreground
Yeah, the
of it.
foreground,
Right.
middle ground, right? And so to make sure to match that order in your layers, whatever is closest, make sure it's on top. Because back with this, so right now, if we have this city, let me take off this demo one. This city, right, is
Right.
the next thing there. Here's the main city. If we have a mountain above, right, that means it really needs to be below. And
Oh,
here's
I
an
see what
example.
you're saying.
Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
here's this guy. And then that creates all these issues when they try to move it, right? You get this sort of
Right,
thing.
right.
And you try putting something
if it's
between
behind, it won't matter.
But if you put it, let's take off that one and do, let's say, main city demolition, right, where that mountain is behind it, you don't have to worry about it. I can move this around and finesse this whenever I want in post at any point. I don't have to be stuck with that one
Right,
order. So
okay.
just paying attention to depth and matching that with layer order. Otherwise, you're going to have to do so much work around it. It wastes a whole lot of
Right.
time.
I
so.
need to do that thing. What's it called? Paying attention. So,
It's a valuable thing.
all right, coming up next, we're going to look at more ideas. I have a couple to share. Serge, I can see him over here doing some things. Of course, Bret's got things. We might even get Juan to show us some compositing things. Unlikely, but you never know. Stick around. We'll be right back here, live on the grid.
When you need a tripod that is compact, that is portable enough to take with you anywhere, one that is adaptable to any situation, that will prove versatile enough for any shoot. and is compatible with your other gear, giving you freedom to create your own perspective. Look no further. Platypod Ultra does it all. Visit platypod.com for more info.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hello, everyone. We're back. Scott Kelby here, and we got Bret Malley, and we got Serge Ramelli. We got
Bonjour.
Juan
Love
on
the way
the
you
gym.
say that.
We got Christina on the moderation, and she's being very moderate today. I might add.
Yeah.
Jason's in the booth. Ron's on the streaming. And Eric Kuna is 200 feet west of the grid set. Eric says, hey, from 200 feet west of the grid set. So,
Rolf, hi from Germany. Hello, Rolf.
hi, Rolf. Dave Williams. Do you know Dave Williams? You should meet Dave Williams.
Yeah.
He's a Kelby 1 instructor, too, and he's really good.
Sounds really
He is a travel photographer and just a really cool guy. We love Dave.
Awesome.
Dave has many talents. He's a very, very talented guy. And he lives in the UK, and so that makes him extra cool. He's kind of a 007 James
And
Bond kind of
authoritative,
guy.
yeah.
Jessica's here from Salzburg. Very nice. Daryl's here from Baltimore. Got to be freezing up there. Victoria Pavlov. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Victoria, darling.
Deb from California. Hello.
Deb. And there's Dalton. So Dalton was at the game with me. Dalton and I are sitting there in the end zone going, man, we're in the wrong place. But he says hi to everybody. Michael Dow says, bonjour, Serge. I will be in LA this weekend.
Bonjour, Michael. Well, I'll be in Florida this week. I'm sorry.
Oh, well.
But
You were
always
here,
good.
though. And Terry White. Shout out to the TW. T to the W. Now, do you know Terry White?
I don't
Dude, we
believe
got to
so.
get you
Yeah,
around. We have the
need-
coolest people. We got the coolest guys.
I know
Terry
that.
White
I
is
just need to meet
literally
them.
one of the coolest guys in the planet.
That sounds
If you
excellent.
met Terry, you'd be like, oh my
Wow,
gosh,
you're cool.
I kid you not. He is really as awesome as people get. Let's just ask just a standard, someone just walking by completely unedited. Excuse me, sir. How is Terry White cool?
Oh, he's the coolest.
So
So
cool.
cool.
That's just like completely unsolicited.
I
And
got to meet him live. That would
He
be
is.
great.
There he is. That's Terry right there.
Oh, there.
Terry White. Terry White. And he dresses cool too. So, and he has a theme song. Can I sing it for you?
Do it.
So,
I
Mike,
thought you were going to beatbox. Dawn. He went to this. I was like,
sorry, I got a cough.
cough
Maybe
box.
I can answer Michael those questions. Would
Please
love.
do.
I'll give you 4 recommendations. If you're in Los Angeles, you want to take awesome photos. Number 1, Griffith Park. Number 2, Venice Canal and Venice Beach. Number 3, downtown LA. And number 4, El Matador Beach in Malibu.
I've been to 2 of those. Does that count?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I
During sunset?
tell you why Serge knows where to shoot in Los Angeles? Here's why. Oh God, Terry's calling me now. Seriously.
On the grid.
Terry's calling me on my phone right now.
That's
Oh, missed
interactive.
call. Missed call. Oh,
Too bad.
that's a shame.
I could meet him.
Oh, you could have met him. but he didn't call and FaceTime. It's not saying you got to get the full 3D experience.
It's true.
So the reason why Serge knows where every place to shoot in Los Angeles is he did a book, and we were just talking about your book just a few days ago. Oh, guys, calling back. Hi, Terry. Have you met Bret? Hang on.
Hey, Terry, I'm looking at your picture there. Nice to meet you. Glad we could have this live introduction here. So, how's the grid going? You called just in time to deviate from the singing. It's true. The beatboxing would have been good.
Yeah, but I got a bad voice today.
All right.
He's a
Well,
singer.
nice to meet you. Here's back to the guy.
Hey, Terry, we're kind of in the middle of something. Can I call you back after the show? Thanks. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
He goes, sure. Yeah, call me back later. Anyway, so the reason why Serge has this, and we were just talking about this the other day. Serge did an incredible book on photography in Los Angeles. And the reason why it's so incredible, now, Serge is a great photographer. Serge goes to Venice. Serge goes around the world. Paris, his Paris book will make you cry. His Venice book is amazing. I mean, he's really, really good. His New York book is as good as anybody's New York book. But Los Angeles, you will be stunned when you look in that book. Like, this stuff is in LA. I've said it before. I don't know how you did it. You made the most beautiful book. I'll guarantee you there's not another book that looks at the beauty of Los Angeles the way your book does.
Well, thank you, sir.
People should buy this. Hey, if you want to get somebody a gift that they will never see coming, get them the Los Angeles book. And
That's
they're
right.
going to be like, it'll make you want to go to Los Angeles. And trust me, nobody wants to go to Los Angeles. It's a bit. No, I'm kidding. I personally like LA.
I love LA.
But it is really, he did a beautiful, beautiful job. You really did. And I'm not just saying that because you're here, because I said that whole thing when you weren't here.
That's true.
On the grid, as a matter of fact.
It's crazy.
So anyway, that's why he knows the great places to shoot, because he really does. He's got LA down. So hey, can I plug you for a second while we're talking? Do you mind?
Sure.
Okay. So Serge does workshops just 2 or 3 times a year. Small group of people, amazing places. He goes places like where? Paris, Florence,
In Los Angeles.
and Los Angeles.
It's actually February is going to be Los Angeles, and then Florence and Tuscany. It's 2 days in Florence, 2 days in Tuscany, beginning of May, and then right after I go the next week in Paris. So both of them in May, I think.
Sacré bleu.
It's going to be crazy.
All right, are you going to meet me in where is southern France, so I can shoot those stupid violets this year?
The lavender field, you mean?
It's not lavender. Oh my gosh, you're so French. It's lavender field.
Sounds
Lavender
so much
field.
nicer.
It's
Even
the-
when they're French, we can say no.
It
It's
is
lavender.
Left.
They're in France. No, you're saying it
Lavender.
wrong.
You're
Saying
saying
it wrong. It's lavender.
Lavender.
I really like the way that sounds. Say it again. The way
Lavender field.
yeah, you can't beat that.
Ou les champs de lavande. We say les champs de lavande du sud de la France, of the south of France.
You're banned
Time
from the
to
show
go.
now. You're banned. You're banned. All right, Brett, you have to take over from here because he's banned. All right, where can people go learn about your workshops? Dude, can you imagine a workshop with Serge? You guys would have so much fun. I've been with Serge in France. I've been with Serge in Paris. Oh my gosh.
Los Angeles, Venice. So I'm actually doing also Venice. So Los Angeles, Venice, Florence, and Paris. And Venice I'll do with Mimo,
With Mimo. Oh,
which is our,
we love Mimo.
and voila.
And I met Mimo because of you. Mm-hmm. Serge is the center
right.
of all things good.
Thank you.
He's that.
Yeah, it's
he's
awesome.
that.
We take a lot of photos. We retouch them together. I make sure you capture it right. I'm sitting next to you while you take the photos, and then we retouch it together with your own computer. So I find, I've been doing it for 4 years, and people do learn. Honestly, I think it's the best way if you want to sort of boost to go on one of your workshops with somebody who really knows what he's doing.
Yeah, the
I think
hands-on. There's no.
And it gives you, it's so inspiring, and you make new friends. I made friends at all of my workshops.
Yeah.
When I do a workshop, man, I still talk to those people way afterwards.
Awesome.
It's so much fun. It almost creates like a little family unit. It's very, very fun. I love doing the workshops. Love it, love it, love it.
So photosurge.com is where to go. You go to the workshop section.
Photosurge.com and click on the workshops tab.
That's right.
Guys, go. You will love it. You will absolutely love it. All right. Brett, you're
Thank
back
you.
on.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
what
see.
do we got?
Let's see. Another
Compositing
compositing mistake that I
Yep.
see. People not using smart objects very often, and especially when they're resizing things back and forth. So here's kind of a fire fantasy. You're creating something. Man, the power of smart objects and what you can do with manipulating it and keep on playing with it even after you think you're done, and then you add more things on there. You want to keep going with it. So this one is a bunch of sort of fire images here, and without a smart object, if I get my move tool and I select the right layer, right, and I do this sort of thing, shrinking it down here, and I'm not holding down shift, right?
Right.
Because
Oh,
it's the
very
new
good.
version. Yeah, I know. I've been training my hands. Good hands. Good. Very good. Okay. So if we do that where we shrink it down and it's not a smart object,
Yeah, it's trash.
that means it's terrible looking. So right click, or there's several ways you can turn into smart object, but do convert to smart object. Not only does that allow you to do this kind of thing where you can shrink it down, say that you like it, bring it back up, right? Because this is basically a Photoshop file within Photoshop, and it saves it there. But you can also do things such as warp, right? Let's say I want to warp this and move this around, right? And really customize this. And if I hit the checkbox and say I like that, and if I decide, you know what, I really don't like that, I want to go back to warp, it will bring me right back to where I had it. To take it one step further, even if you do something like puppet warp. So here's one where I've masked some out, so it's just that single one. And if I do puppet warp on this one, that's not a smart object, since it does not have that little smart object guy there. So if I go to, let's see, puppet warp under edit, right, and I add my puppet pins, and I move this, again, it's not smart, and let's say once I stretch this out or do something with it, right, and then I go back to, you know what, I want to keep playing with that. So I go back to my puppet warp, right? It forgets where those pins are, right? Yeah, I can keep warping this, but it's going to keep on destroying it each time you do that and shift it around. Instead, if you turn it into a smart object, this mask is still there. If I double click on this smart object, it opens up a new tab, and I still have that mask, right? It still exists. But back, let's see where we are. If I play with this, and if I go to edit, puppet warp, it has the puppet pins, and it will still remember even after you do it. So let's say if I move this around and did something goofy, let's make it extreme.
I did not know that. Now,
So-
that is weird, wild stuff.
pretty cool.
Seriously,
Playing
all
with
joking
fire.
aside, I did not know
it's
that.
fun. So let's say
And
I just
use
hit-
puppet warp, and I use smart objects,
Yeah.
and I did not know that.
You hit checkbox, and if you go back to your edit, I always forget where puppet warp is. I always think it's under image. I don't know why. It still knows where they are. You can still customize it, and because that mask is internalized, it's not shifting around the mask also, right? And so there's a lot of other benefits there. So you can warp, you can push and pull. Smart objects are fantastic. They bloat your file. They're huge, right? Especially when you're doing massive composites. But if you have a part of an image that you're really going to be pushing and pulling and warping and playing with, smart objects are the way to go.
Yeah, because it keeps pinging the original image.
Yeah.
Wow, that is great.
It's cool.
So
It's
for
fun.
those of you who are not that familiar with smart objects, just to be able, once you like bring the object in, you copy and paste it, or however you bring it in, you can just right click on the layer and choose convert to smart object. And from that point on, it embeds like the high-res version in your file, which is why it bloats, right?
Yeah, yep. It's
And
basically
then-
a Photoshop file within your Photoshop
Yeah.
file. So, but again, it's non-destructive. It's
All right.
digital negative.
All right, I'm going to give a quick one.
Okay.
All right. So one of mine that drives me crazy, and it is also very much a sky replacement thing, is when you see glows. Glows. I see a lot of like white glows, often white glows where you've composited in a sky and you have trees, and there's white all in between
Oh,
the
yeah.
trees
Oh,
and stuff.
Yeah, because they use the some kind of selection tool.
Yeah, like the magic wand tool or color replacement, or color. So
Selection, yeah.
there are a couple of different ways to get around it. And I'm doing a Photoshop tour right now. And one of the things I show is sky replacement. And one of the things I tell people to do instead of, you can just choose a layer blend mode, certainly, and that will usually help, like
That's
Serge
what I do.
does with multiply. But you can use the blend if
yeah.
sliders. So the blend if sliders, you just double click on the thumbnail and it brings up your image, and there are 4 sliders. Now, if you just drag them, they look awful. They look horrendous.
that option key.
You have to hold the option key on a Mac or the Alt key on Windows. It splits those sliders in two, and now you can smoothly blend, and you can have a sky come ripping right in. Just, you will be amazed at what you can do with those 4 sliders. It's also hard to know really what the sliders will do until you move them.
You have to play with it.
Yeah, it's not
one
a
of
thing where you
those.
open it up and go, oh, you move the left slider.
Yeah,
So
no.
I wind up moving all 4 and say, does
Yeah.
this look good? Does this look good? There's 2 rows of them. Does this look good? Hey, can you just double click on a layer so people
Sure.
can see what we're talking about? Just
So
double.
let me just add a new sky because I've never used. This is a bit too low resolution, but it's fine. Let's see here. So this is it was a very nice morning, but it was a very boring sky. So okay, show me the money.
You can do the effects.
Yeah,
with
so
that,
it's these sliders right there, right at the bottom of that box that say blend if. It's the gray ramps, right?
So you go this and you press
if you
Alt.
drag it, it looks horrible. But then if you split it, it looks better. Now that's not the one. And so that's the thing, is
like
you don't know
Yeah.
until you start dragging.
You have
and
to
you
play
can
with it.
usually find.
Ooh, that's-
see? See?
I know.
Okay, that's the one.
Yeah.
So now.
Okay, right. Now, did you split it?
Now it's
Oh.
Oh!
Okay.
After that
Now, can I show you the way I do it? Which,
Please.
which
Yes.
honestly, this
Oui.
is because look how awesome that blends in.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
It blends in beautifully.
Oh my God, it's
No white little areas or that glows or any of that junk.
And so
That's
fast.
great. Well, thanks for the
That's
tip. 'Cause
slick.
My pleasure, dude. If I could show you a tip, I'm happy.
So the way I do it is, well, I'm just going to cancel the blend if, is what I do because it also does a little bit of a dodge and burn. Is so I add this when you drop. By the way, collect skies, guys. You know, if you like
Oh,
to do
yeah.
sky replacement, every time I see a nice sky, I take a photo. I open up in Photoshop and I drag and drop it in this huge collection of sky that I have. I have about
And you
6.
have libraries right there.
It's my screen's a bit small because it's anyway. So I have it here. What I do is I always have the same workflow. I drop it in, and I drop it in about where the horizon should be. Okay. Then I press Enter, Command J to duplicate the layer, Command T to go into edit mode, and then I'm going to flip vertical, and then I'm going to hold on the Shift key so I align it perfectly to that. So now we
like
have a
that.
perfect mirror of the sky.
Yeah.
Then I go Command E, which is going to blend both smart objects into one layer. Then I go to multiply. Okay, then it blends well, but you get all the spots from the sky there.
Right.
And
So
so you get a darker image that way than the way you're doing it.
Right.
And then I just take the lasso tool and I select really very roughly wherever I see clouds. Okay.
Right.
So now I have a rough selection. I go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and I Gaussian the hell out of it, like a lot. So I still like the idea of getting some reflection of the sky.
But it's not too
of the
sharp,
clouds.
so it doesn't look.
I like
yeah.
that. So you're getting a reflection of the sky in your picture.
So it does a bit of dodge and burn at the same time.
Right.
But you can always add a mask to that, and just if it's too heavy in one spot,
Yeah, and so that's
just
what I do
finesse
now
it. That's great.
to dodge and burn it. So, maybe I can take some of it here to make this sky brighter. Hold on.
Yeah, the trees aren't going to do a great job of reflecting unless they're wet.
Right.
Sometimes the wet leaves will pick up a little reflection.
Sure, get some of that.
No, but I can pretend there's a reflection of the sun there. But anyway,
Ooh, look at! Do you like the
Yeah.
way he added that?
Yeah, that's
make-
fantastic.
That's pretty good, dude.
Feels like there's just a spot of
Monsieur.
diffused
but I
sunlight
like the blend
right
if
there.
too
Yeah,
because
magnifique.
the blend if what is good about it is that you get the problem with my technique is you get a darker photo, and then you have to. So sometimes I have to correct the sky. I have to correct the photo. With your technique, we don't.
I know, but here's the thing. You know how you make your image brighter? What you take a slider, move it what?
To the
To
right.
the right, a 1/16th of an inch, and you're done. Yeah. So
Well,
I
here's
don't know. I
another
like
one
your technique.
with
I
a
like
threshold
your,
to lighten that up. If you do a curves adjustment and clip it to that,
Yeah.
and then
That's what I do sometimes. I actually do a levels
yeah,
or curve
then you can
adjustment.
do a threshold and then just
Wait.
paint it in on the side.
What's the threshold? And what did you want? What?
You mean like just on the sky here?
Yeah, so if you just look at, let's say the bottom half is too dark, only look at the bottom half while you're making your adjustments. Ignore the top because you can mask that out and keep that sky the way it is. But if you
Right.
darken too much, you finesse it with your curves adjustment, and that works as a threshold. How much of that multiply is coming through
Right.
since it will only add the darker pixels. That's a great Great way to
Oh,
you're doing there.
very nice.
And then
You guys are
mask
smart.
out the sky because it
Yeah,
was
but
so
I
beautiful
like
and rich.
or something like that, to be
That's-
honest.
I love that. Yeah, I love the way it darkened it. Actually.
All right, we've got some more. We have more. So coming up next, we got more. We got some more tricks to show you. Some more things for you to avoid. Better compositing, better stuff.
Amazing. It's crazy.
France and America coming together once again.
Ouais, vive la France.
Yes, c'est fou.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Make sure you don't miss any episodes of The Grid by subscribing to Apple's podcast app or iTunes. It's free, and we even have a special audio-only version too. So sign up today.
Hello, everyone. We're back. We're talking about compositing mistakes. I'm going to kick us off with a compositing mistake right here. And it is, I see a lot of people make crazy mistakes with shadows. I see a lot of people either they'll composite something and add no shadows whatsoever, which is weird. That always looks weird. Or when they do the shadow is so obviously a Photoshop shadow that you're just like, oh, come on.
Really?
The one thing that I find that they do a lot is either they leave the shadow too dark, like the shadow looks almost black, like, and if you look in real life, right next to the object, it will be maybe black, but as it moves away, it will either fade away or be less intense and stuff.
Yeah, the light bounces around.
Yeah, I was going to show you a little thing, just a little 5-second. I was going to show you a technique that I see people do that is crazy. So, I'm going to bounce off somebody. I'll bounce off Monsieur Serge, only because he's a foreigner. All right. So we have a picture. Here's a picture. Can you see that on the video control room too? All right.
Yes.
So you have these basically thing floating in space.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to make a background, and this is a simple background. We're going to fill the background with gray, and I can't actually reach my color picker, so I'm going to go to the double. Oh. Okay. See this, kids?
Wow, how do you do that?
You click this little button up here on the top left, and it makes that double. So for most of the years I used Photoshop, this was how it always was.
That's right.
Right, and then at one point they said, let's make it into one. But anyway, it's up there.
When you have Illustrator and InDesign, they all kind of have different defaults
Yep.
for that, it seems like.
So I'm going to fill the background with a gray. Yes, I am. We'll just pick a gray. How about this one? All
I
right.
like that one.
Thank you. Yeah. Then I'm going to add a new layer on top. And this is leading us up to the thing. All right. I'm going to make a large oval. I call this a large oval. We're going to fill it with white, and then we're going to use the Serge Ramelli technique called blurring it to death. What'd you call it? Blurring the hell out of it?
Blurring the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Technical term.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to blur the hell out of it. Something like
Wow,
this.
That's already
All right.
Vignette.
So-
Shiny, glowy.
But we're going to actually take this another crazy step. We're going to merge those two layers together. So I'm going to take the layer that I'm on and merge it with the one below by pressing Command E on Mac, or if you're Windows, it's Control E. Now, we're going to go to Free Transform. You've heard of that. We are going to hold the Shift key so we can stretch it all crazy. And we're going to go up a little there. All right. I'm going to hit Return so it works. I'm going to duplicate that layer. I'm going to press Command J to duplicate it. And then I'm just going to pull it down, and there's our background right there. What? Yep.
Nice.
Okay. That's not the technique.
Shadows.
We needed something there. So the mistake that I see people make, and I'm going to show you just basically how to get there, is they do this. They're going to put a drop shadow in. So they go to the drop shadow here. It's built into Photoshop.
Oh, yeah.
And they go, okay,
Done.
there it is, done, drop shadow. Now, the size slider, this is kind of funny, right? The size slider, oh, don't even look at that. Sorry, I tried to zoom and it freaked it out. The size slider is misnamed. It really means, this should be called softness, like how soft is the shadow. Because if you make the size 0, it's a very hard shadow. See it down there?
Right.
And then if you go up, it becomes a softer shadow. All right, so that's the drop shadow dialog box. And, oh, I can't, I'm looking across the room at it. It's not a good idea. Okay, so they make the shadow too dark. And then, look, it's floating. What is this casting on? That would have to be against the background.
Right.
And it wouldn't look like that even if it was against the background. It's dumb. I will give you a little tip. Can I give you a tip while we're here?
Do it.
Do you see this thing called angle and distance? These are two things you should never, ever touch ever in your entire life. Do you know why? Because it causes you to do math. You should never have to do math in Photoshop. Photoshop is about art and about love. It is not about math. So instead of ever touching angle or distance, you're just going to leave the dialog box. You're going to leave it.
Okay.
And you're going to go grab the shadow itself, and you're going to move it and put it where you want. Ooh. That way you don't have to touch those stupid style. Look, they're moving for you. Now, by international law, all shadows have to go down and to the right. It is a law. I didn't make it. It's just the way it is. So you can make it a little soft. Now, the mistake that I want you to avoid is not using this thing. I cannot hit this thing. What's going on? There we go. All right, so it's a little softer. So here's the thing, is there's an answer. Do you notice that it's called a layer style? And what that means is this drop shadow is not on that bottle. This drop shadow is on layer 1. So if I were to go and grab, let's just say, the color red, like I have here, and I were to grab a paintbrush, like I have over here, and I'm going to grab a hard brush. If I paint, it has a drop shadow.
Right.
Everything on that layer has a drop shadow.
Yes.
So here's the technique that I want you to get you to. We've done all of this to get to this.
I'm waiting.
If you go under the layer menu, under layer style, at the very bottom, there's the thing called create layer. What create layer will do is remove that drop shadow from that layer, and then you have your own separate drop shadow that you can work with separately. So I'm going to hit create layer, but look in the layers palette when I do that. Don't look at the menu. Menu's stupid. Look over at the layers palette. Watch. There's its drop shadow. Look, it's by itself now. So now what you could do is you could use free transform to do a cast shadow. So you could hold shift and command and create a cast shadow in the direction of the light. Unfortunately, the light is coming from the sides in this one. You could go backward with it. You could go, somebody could come forward with it. You can go really anywhere you want with it. Now, of course, it's floating above air at this point. It's still floating in the air because it's not touching the bottom of the bottle. And this is really a fakey looking shadow. But the idea here is, and I would do two things too, by the way. If you really want to make it look good, I would put a gradient in there instead of a fill.
Yeah.
And the gradient would go from black to transparent. The other thing I would do, this is super cheating, so don't tell anybody. When I get to that wall, I would cut that shadow and let's go Shift Command J to cut it up on its own layer. Yeah, and then go tilt it. What did I just do? Undo.
Perfect.
Oh
Done.
my gosh. Shift Command T. Nope. Okay, that's bad. Command T. Sorry. And then shift it, to where it goes up the wall and all that. Okay.
Yep.
So, but this is not good. What I did is pretty lame. But the idea is that a lot of people, when they add shadows, they're doing product composites. their shadows are floating in nowhere. They're not, And I also will stack shadows. Like under the bottle, I would put a very hard shadow. And sometimes I will just paint it. Then I'll do a softer shadow out, and then another softer shadow that dissipates. But if you just look at actual like product photography and look where their shadows go, sometimes they have shadows going in multiple directions. Like it's not lit with one light, so there's one going at an angle off this way, and there's a shorter one going here. But it's looking at shadows are so important. That's why we had Bret do a class on shadows, because it's one of the things that photographers mess up the most. So if you're a Kelby One member, go watch his class on shadows. It's brilliant, and he covers all that stuff that it's make or break stuff. It's stuff that it's just like what Serge is talking about with these things that tip your hand, that it's obviously, the goal is to look real. There it is. It's not that one, it's the shadows. There it is. Yeah. How to create realistic shadows for composites.
Wow.
Well, another thing is, you pinpointed it's not just flat, right? That gradient is so important because you have all that other light bouncing and filling in. It's going to be most dense just around the closest to that object, right? So that's where you get the least amount of that the light falls off that's bouncing. So paying attention to that, look at real shadows, look at actual examples, and then really follow that. You have a template right there in reality.
Hey, Serge, what you got going on there, Serge? I like this. What is this?
So this.
Oh, you gotta take over a video control room too, because I took it from you. Here,
okay.
I'll turn it off and maybe come back right there. Go to video control room 2.
Well, I actually, so I've been working on this idea. I found this software called Element 3D. It's a plugin from After Effects. Because I tried to use Photoshop, but they have this free Star Wars character in this Element 3D, because the guy who created Element 3D works with J.J. Abrams on Star Wars, for real. He's the one that did some of the special effects and the opening scene for Star Trek, and so he has all these Star Wars characters. And so that's just, I got up at 4 a.m. to get that shot of Paris under the snow. It was a funny story because I leave about 20 minutes from the Eiffel Tower, 25 minutes, if traffic is good. And so I'm going to bed, and then I hear there's going to be a big storm tonight in Paris, a big snowstorm, which, there's 6 million people living in Paris. So trying to get Paris with nobody there, it's really hard. So I have a friend who has a hotel close to Eiffel. I went there, said, can I sleep for a couple of hours? And then I'll shoot all night. So I got that shot, and then I added this. And that was one of my most liked photo last year, and it was a complete composite. And because that Element 3 software is super easy, you just drag and drop and does all the shadows and everything.
Yeah, the shadows look great. Now, so you live 20 to 25 minutes from the Eiffel Tower, is that correct?
Well, I used to. I still have a house there, but now I'm in Los Angeles. But yeah, when my house is 25 minutes away from the Eiffel Tower.
I don't want to brag, but I live 20 to 25 minutes from a McDonald's.
That's so cool.
And it's like open 24 hours. You can get like
Sundays. And
Sunday, open Sundays, and also, I mean,
like
that's
Big
nice that
Macs
you're close to the Eiffel Tower, but
it's not
try to get a
McDonald's.
burger right there. See, you're
Can't
there
do it.
4 o'clock in the morning. It's snowing. Try to get a McRib. It's not going to happen.
So I did a whole bunch of Star Wars composite. That some of them are like whatever,
That's fun.
That's
I love
pretty
it.
cool.
I
That
love
is
it.
cool. Why is he at the Opera House? That's the Opera House, isn't it?
Who wouldn't?
Dude, what's bad for Darth Vader to be at the Opera House?
You wanted to, have fun,
He's all about the drama.
He's all about the drama.
Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't like. They were whatever. Anyway, it was just to showing composites.
But yeah, fun.
All right. Hey, we got a question. I'm going to give this to both of you guys.
Okay.
Jock's Photos 2 asks, do you have any tips for starry night sky composites? I sometimes do that. So I guess he's shooting the Milky Way or something, and he wants to composite it with some mountains.
I do it all the
something.
time.
Okay. Can you?
Go for it.
Well,
give us your-
I don't have. Well, what I do is I have a collection of Milky Ways on my somewhere in some collections.
Milky Ways, they're called Serge's Milky Way bars.
And Sky 2, I think, has Milky Ways. And then you just use screen mode to. You have to have a night photo, of course. Okay.
Yeah, but Serge, what if the Milky Way that you're seeing isn't the Milky Way that's in Paris? It's a different Milky Way.
So that's a Milky Way I actually shot. And
I was just trying to see if it'd fool you with that.
Yeah.
There's only one Milky Way, by the way, for those of you watching at home.
Yeah.
There's not like 12 Milky Way.
Anyway, you have to use I use the screen mode, but on a very dark photo, and it works, And but I don't have an example of a dark photo I could do that with.
So yeah, if you take a really dark sky image, and then do
Let's try to
screen.
add the Milky Way on New York.
Yeah, so it's already a dark sky, and then you use screen.
And then we'll let those stars really pop, right?
Yeah, well, his skies are kind of lit there. We need a really dark.
Oh, you know what? I got an idea.
He's got one. Oh, there's a dark sky.
Yeah, I need
Yeah.
those. That'll do. That'll do.
Like,
That'll do, Pete. That'll do. All right, so Serge has got a picture. Serge has got a picture.
this is from my new
Dun,
New York
dun, 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 dun.
book in color, by the way,
So you got a black and white book.
of New York, and I'm doing a color book on New York.
Do you ever do workshops?
I do workshops. I do workshop in Los Angeles.
Really?
In Venice,
if someone
in Florence,
wanted
and
to go to
Paris.
one of your workshops, you know,
Where
where would
would
they
you
go?
I think they would have to go to Photosurge.
Photo,
Photosurge.com.
PhotoSurge, SERGE.com.
That's right.
Would they click on the workshops tab?
They would.
All right, that's a good place for them to click.
I don't know what's going on. My Photoshop is. Oh yeah, it's a huge file because it's a big panel.
It's a huge, huge file.
So yeah, and I mean I don't add the Milky Way over New York because it would not.
Right. Hey, while you're doing that, here's what we're going to do. We've got some more questions. We got a couple more of these comments. Coming up next, we're going to get to those questions. We're going to get to those comments. Serge is going to show his nighttime picture, which only takes 4.3 weeks to open. So don't go away. We're going to be doing some, we're answering Jock's question when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Don't go.
Shadows are a major part of compositing. Even though they're all different and it can seem really difficult, there are very clear steps that you can take. Just from those two layers, we can see how the shadow is starting to come into play here. We talk about seamless, but what does that mean? And it's not just getting the shadow underneath it looking right, but matching the shadows, where you paint in custom shadows to the object and get that a perfect seamless transition. To add to this would be to darken it a little bit, so some non-destructive dodge and burn, to add some other highlights, and ultimately to add some color to it. So you really have to become a artist physicist in reverse engineering things and trying to think how it might look. I'm Bret Malley, I'm author and a Kelby 1 instructor, and I'm going to blow your mind with fun shadows of how you composite shadows seamlessly in any kind of composite situation.
I remember going to see Ansel Adams' work in Yosemite. I was blown away by the black and white. There is something special about black and white that when you take out the color information, you only have the luminance, and it just creates a special message. Dramatic black and white is having a complete revival today. I find you get a lot of emotion when the message of a photo is clear. And so it's really an art form to decide when you're framing, what do I take in, what do I take out, what do I stress? And I think that's the hardest part of photography. Really explore it and do it because it's fun and it's still very actual. I'm going to show you how to do black and white, how they used to do it back in the day and how we do it now. My name is Serge. Check out my class exclusively on kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Scott. This is Bret. It's Serge.
Bonjour, bonjour,
bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. Bret, I got to tell you, your French accent is stunning. Oh, I'm sorry. That was yours. I just heard different voices. I thought, wow, that really sounds like he's from France.
That was me.
Oh, that was you? Okay. Hey, a couple things. We got a giveaway. We're going to give away right now, right on this very stage. And it's not a stage, by the way. We're going to give away the famous. Do you have one of these?
Yeah, I've got the big one and a small one.
How much do you love it?
I love it. I used it in New York on many spots where tripods were not allowed.
I know. Dude, I was all over New York with this. I was in St. Patrick's
This was
Cathedral.
made for New York.
This was made for New York. Also, Grand Central Terminal.
Oh, yeah.
No problem. Nice. Nobody said a word. It's wherever. Do you have one of these? You wouldn't.
Not yet. No, not yet.
You know why?
Haven't been on enough.
Yeah, after you're on the show three times, then you get a platypod. You're only two, so you're not getting jack.
The Portland, we have various gardens, and they charge for every time you have a tripod. So that would be.
It's lame.
Yeah.
All right, give me a winner. Jerry who? Plus. Jerry Plus, we are going to send you the best replacement for a tripod you will ever see. It's the Platypod Ultra. Now, if you don't win this, I predicted that this will be the hottest Christmas accessory. You can go buy them. B&H Photos got them. You can go to platypod.com. Everybody's got it. These things are everywhere. You can get them at 7-Eleven now. You can get them at Walmart. No?
I got to go to 7-Eleven.
No, it's probably really just B&H and stuff like that. Anyway, they are wonderful. Also, Bret's got a book. He's going to give one away. Tell us about your book.
Yeah, Advanced Compositing. It's came out last year, and it covers everything from compositing. So yeah, kind of those. You get a lot of those files that we were just seeing there. There it is in the middle one.
There it is. I've seen this book.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, I sent you one.
Yeah, it's very good.
I don't know if you opened it.
I wish I had written it.
It's a fun one. It's not gonna write another. That's old. Let's not. That's the first version of their first edition, but. It covers everything that I do in my works. You get to follow along with 3 or 4 middle chapters, and you get all the files, and I kind of walk you through.
All right, and we're going to give one of those away right now.
All right.
Find us a winner. Jim Brayton. Congratulations, Jim. Thank you for watching. You just won an advanced compositing book. So, from Bret, who was very gracious. Speaking of gracious and international, here stealing American jobs, it's Serge Ramelli.
That's right.
And you're going to give away a book, too.
I'm going to give away my Los Angeles book.
Ooh, sweet. Nice. You're going to love. Someone is going to get such a great Christmas gift. Who's going to win the Los Angeles book? Pick somebody from L.A. Really bum them out.
120 pages of photography of Los Angeles. Big book.
Yeah, big coffee table size book. Gorgeous. Jordan Hussar? Is that right?
Send me the address, and I'll send him the book.
All right. Serge is going to send it to you himself, and he'll inscribe it with his credit card number, which is interesting. So,
very interesting.
All right, we are almost out of time. So let's say Harry says the main problem with sky replacement is the wrong horizon placement. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That is a very good one. Let's see. So Chris says, could you combine the blend if and the tip from Serge? Well, here's the thing. If you choose a blend mode, you can still do a blend if, couldn't you?
You can. They have kind of different thresholds.
Yeah.
But you can.
I always think.
You can
I
do
always
it
think
two different layers, but like trying to do everything on the same layer.
Same layer, yeah. I always think of the blend modes as absolute, and blend if as you've got control over how the blend works. So it's
true. I mean, with levels, you can make your sky brighter or whatever, so you can have some control. But I agree. Well, it's the first time I actually understood the because I have this technique and I've been doing it for years and I love it. And your technique is cool also.
I'm going to give away a book too, since everybody's doing books.
Oh my God!
My book.
You've only done 80 books, right?
My book is so new; it's not even out yet. So it is literally on press right now. It is Photoshop for Lightroom users. So it's my brand new book. It's so new; it's not even, the ink isn't even dry on the book yet. But we will gladly send you one. I will sign it and personalize it to you, unless you use naughty words. In which case, I will just put like a % sign and a hashtag and a $sign.
Expletives.
Anyway, expletives. Thank you. So anyway, it's called Photoshop for Lightroom users. It is designed for people who are like have the bundle, right? They pay the $10 and they're like, I know I got to learn Photoshop, right? And it's like, and my whole tour right now is called Photoshop for Lightroom users. And people like at the end of the day are like, I had no idea. Like I knew I should use Photoshop, I didn't know why, and their minds are blown. And this is an extension of that.
Yeah.
So somebody's gonna win it. Now, this will not be someone who's watching live. This is someone who's watching dead. So go leave us a comment. You have to go to kelby1.com/contest. Leave us your name. Leave us your credit card. No, just your name and how to get a hold of you, and we will pick a winner. And someone who is watching on the rebroadcast might win that fabulous book. And fabulous it is. Going to be out any day now. I'm so excited. You should be too, for no reason.
So it's crazy. So people dead or alive can win.
Either one.
It's crazy.
It's like that is an official Bon Jovi trivia question. You want this book, dead or alive? All right. I'm just going to, we don't have much time. Like we got a minute. So I'm going to rip off a few things that just kind of give you a basic idea of things that I see that you need to avoid. All right. This is a big one. The color tones don't match.
That's what I was just going to say.
Do the color tones then, because this is a huge thing. I want to see how you do it because you're really good.
This is a fun one that I give to students because everything is off. So it's a fun sandbox to see how close students can get it, just because everyone's gonna have their own version and things. It wasn't shot for this. So typically, if you do your select and mask, right, we don't have a lot of time. So there's wispies, but again, this is very cool. We're in the shadows, and this is very warm, right? So there's no sort of adjustments, but people don't look at that. Like, they just look at the selections like, okay, I got it, even if they didn't. So it's really important to instead, this is way heavy, but just to show, all these different color adjustments to play with the masks and the curves. So don't forget about it. If we take all this off, let's see what I did here. So I think I actually had one that cooled it way down. So this is a simple color balance that did way over the top. Again, you can go way over the top and just bring back your opacity if it's too much. And sometimes you want to warm parts up. You can mask it. Maybe it's just the hair you want. And then, this is one way to take out some of the halo and then get the values looking right. And then finally get the color, one last color to rule them all. But yeah, get color at least so it's in the right direction.
Can I show you? I have 2 tricks.
Yeah.
They're very simple though. They're not like.
I like simple.
All right. So can you command click on her thumbnail to reload the selection? All right. So go to the background layer whatever.
Decontaminate?
No.
Okay.
No, go to the background layer, whatever it layers on. All right.
Okay.
And press Command J to put just her up on the layer. Now hide all the other layers except for the one you just did. Option click on the eye right there.
Okay.
So that's what you wind up with, is a version of her with that in there. Now we're not done.
Ooh,
go under the filter menu.
And blur the hell out of it.
No, under blur, and choose average.
Ooh.
So what this does is it makes a solid color that is an average of all the colors that were there.
Ooh, that's
now
sick.
bring back all the other layers.
Okay, let's see. I think let's do without the color, right?
All right, yeah.
Yeah, let's just do the
Just the
one that's on
tint,
top.
yeah, that we just did, right?
Okay,
Put it
we'll
on
put this
top.
Not on top.
All right, and then show the background.
Color mode.
Okay, there's
And
that.
that's the end. It looks the
Perfect.
same color.
Done.
No,
Nailed
you're
it.
now going to the final 2 steps. Switch
Okay.
the blend mode to color,
Right.
and then lower the opacity of this layer to where, well, that's too far. Yeah, you want to keep that. But that way you're using the actual colors in the image as a tint on top of her.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to show that one. That's enough because we're not much time.
I like where you also copy the whole thing and you can clip it. You can do the same thing.
Oh yeah, you
Let's
can
say,
clip it.
Copy this, make a copy, paste it here, and
Clip it into
and
it.
then it's only going to exist where, if we actually see it there, where this exists, which is nice, which is apparently nowhere because she's invisible now.
It exists nowhere because she's invisible. Anyway, that's a quick version there. All right, so that was one. Number 2 was contrast. So you'll take one picture that you shot in the studio that's very, very contrasty. Then you'll take a picture of a landscape that you took 2 years ago, and you pop them together, and your subject that's real crisp in the studio and lit and all just doesn't look. You got to be careful that your contrast match. That may require you to lower the contrast, like literally open up camera raw, go to contrast, and drag to the left so the images look the same. Now it should not look like it was. To me, that's a big one where it looks dropped in, where your contrast is just over the top. Next is your scale is not correct. Like you bring in someone and they look too large or too small for the scene that they're in. So one of the things that you can do, honestly, to help with this, if you think ahead, if you know, like Joel Grimes, who's a wonderful compositor, Joel will measure things out and make sure everything's the right height and stuff. But when you're shooting, he'll shoot a very, very wide background, right? And then he's going to put another person on it on a different day with a different kind of thing. Is you can put another person there and take a shot that's not the person that you need. Right, so let's say Serge and I were out there, we're shooting backgrounds. I might just go, Serge, stand right there.
Yes, yeah.
So you got a picture of Serge, and there you've got the scale. Like this person should be the size of Serge, but you just shot the shot without Serge in it. So if you want something to help you with scale, just use a stand-in. Next is sometimes when you bring your image in to match the surroundings, it shouldn't be 100% crisp. Like sometimes I've had to go and blur it with a tiny, tiny bit of Gaussian blur.
Even a half a pixel.
Like, I was going to say like 0.04 or something like that. And all of a sudden you see that you're sliding it back where I start at 0 and or I think 0.1 is as low as it'll go. And you start dragging it to the right. All of a sudden you'll see that point where it just blends with the image and you're like, it really.
Yeah, otherwise it's all cut out. Otherwise it looks like a paper cut out.
The other one is the depth of field doesn't match the image. So you shot someone with a very shallow depth of field, and their ears are a little bit out of focus,
Yeah,
and you put them on an F11 background, and you're like,
It doesn't work.
just two more. Perspective. Perspective is a big thing. I know that you talk about that in your class. And then the last is direction of light. So I touched on this earlier, but you will have somebody who literally they're lit from one side, and someone puts in the composite. And so this is just, I used to teach this. When I shoot for compositing, I always use two light sources. I use one from one side and one from the other, so I can drop it in all kinds of situations, because sometimes it just looks weird if the person's turned the other way. So if you have, one light from one side and one light from another, it opens up all kinds of possibilities for you to be able to drop someone in, because if the sun's on the left, there'll still be light coming from the left. So it's cheating. All right, well, we have
Photoshop is. It's a cheat.
It is a cheat. We have a super run out of time. So before we bounce out of here, where can people go learn more about you, Bret? Tell us.
You can go to BretMalley.com. Bret with one T. Very unique that way. BretMalley.com.
Wow.
Bret, this is so upsetting.
I know.
It's a beautiful site, though. You've got some really great. Now, was that a real shot or was it a composite?
That is 5 real shots.
Is that a real shot?
Wow.
That's real, right?
That's Yosemite, and that's a cookie sheet for a moon, and some rhododendrons from my yard.
Now, why are these barns floating?
So this was a fun idea where barns had sort of spirits, right? And that's
Okay, but you know that they don't really float, right?
Yeah, of course they
Okay.
do.
Oh, I love that
Have
one.
you seen Penn?
Wow, that is really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
10,000 BC.
That was me before I gained a bunch of weight. Yeah. Anyways, hey, that looks familiar. That's from a class.
That is from your class. That is so cool.
Wow.
They were some fun models there. And there's my little guy who's now 6.
Aw.
Woohoo. And we still have the cat. After that shot, she fluffed out like crazy.
Your
Something
cat
about it.
fluffed out?
Some traumatic event of being suspended in air. Now she's fluffy.
I don't think she really was suspended in air. I think it's all just a big Photoshop trick.
No way.
All right. I just want to mention one more thing, and we're going to blast out of here because we're going to talk about Serge here a second. I've got a new class coming out this week. It is on shooting the Pro Photo B1X on location. And I did a safari fashion shoot. We started in the studio. I take you through all of here's how it all works. If you've never shot have you ever shot a B1?
No, I have not.
Serge, you will love that light on a level you've never loved anything or any person your entire life, including your own children.
Really?
I might be exaggerating, but you'll really, really like that light. You know what? I saw so many people using them over the years, and I thought, that looks really cool. It's really,
And you have cool, easy modifiers you can put on?
Oh, yeah. Dude, the modifier's like this. You slide it on and go, snap.
Nice.
Oh, it's the best. It is the best design. You know what's weird about it?
And it's got a battery,
I
so
think-
it's like a speed light. For
Yeah,
the
it's all
outside.
in one piece. But I think in my mind, I thought it was going to become complicated. It is the easiest studio light I've ever used, and you can take it on location. It's designed to go on location. And I take you on location. We start in the studio. You'll learn everything about it, and you're going to go. You're going to love it. It comes out tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, yeah. She doesn't care. She's not listening. So maybe tomorrow. Might be tonight, maybe today. So anyway, it's called, shooting the Pro Photo B1X on location. I'm very excited about it. So it's coming out soon, like today.
All right.
Serge, where can people go learn more about you? Don't tell me it's photoserge.com. Please don't tell me that's where it's at. How about Instagram? What are you on Instagram?
Photo Serge.
What
Photo Serge everywhere.
You're Photo Serge everywhere?
I'm Photo Serge everywhere.
Man, I'll tell you what. You better never stop being a photographer. And you become Sculptor Serge, you're screwed. Your numbers are going to drop like a rock.
Rebrand. That's hard.
Anyway, thanks everybody for watching the show very, very much. Thanks to everybody who came out to my seminar in Fort Lauderdale on Monday. We had so much fun. And
Fort Lauderdale?
I love Fort Lauderdale. You ever been to Fort Lauderdale?
No, I have not been to Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, God, he's back to French. Thanks, everybody. Wani. Hey, wait. Bring that bad boy back down. We didn't see Wani's Instagram page. Bring it back down. We don't close the show without seeing Juan's Instagram page. It is the glue that holds this show together.
I didn't know that could go back down.
Go follow _Juan Alfonso.
Right now.
And you got some new shots there, don't you, Juan? There it is, _Juan Alfonso, because there were 200 Juan Alfonso accounts already. So anyway, out in Yosemite, it's actually pronounced Yosemite. Just
Yosemite.
All right, so there's not enough letters in there to be Yosemite, okay? And this is Juan kind of, making friends out in Hawaii. Juan, well, he's friendly. Anyway, So now we can go out. Thanks, everybody. BretMalley.com, PhotoSerge.com,
Thank you for the red
ScottKelby.com. Red jacket and Sabian. Sabian is our shirt today. Sabian symbols. They're symbols. Look how high that jib
Wow.
gets. Is that thing getting like...